Bitcoin's just hit our short zone that we mentioned in the previous video. So what should you be looking for if you're looking to short Bitcoin now that we're in the zone? So what you should realistically be doing is, because this is a point of interest, it's a very high time frame point of interest. Just keep in mind, on the grand scale of this range, this is a big portion of the range. This takes up the like a big portion of the range. Just took up a very big portion. This demand zone that flip zoned, right? You hit the demand zone, someone was home, knock knock, you got a reaction, but you took absolutely zero structural highs and price came down. And you have this lovely SFP. However, this SFP, like I mentioned in the previous video, is very shallow. So realistically, if the SFP hit this accumulative long zone, that would be a much more high confidence long than what we got here. And then obviously weekend price action chopped, left liquidity, and then popped up. And now you have a really nice strong move up, at least in the local scale. So what should you be looking for in the zone? Well, again, because it's a big point of interest, normally point of interest, they like to range out because they need your stop losses as smart money's liquidity. So the more times they can take the high a couple times, and distribute, that's how they get in the big enough position size to then send price down to come for, well, that's equal lows. You left lows here. All you're doing on this move up is leaving liquidity. Why? To most likely bring price down later. Obviously, again, as price comes up into the zone and as price ranges, we'll know whether it actually wants to go down or up. But from a general contextual point of view, with everything price is telling us right now, you are expecting a bearish range, and just trade the range as you see it. If you see any bullish signs in the range that price is accumulating, it pops up a bit, accumulates, well, you know that this zone's probably not going to hold anymore, and you know you're probably targeting the highs, if not the very, very high, and even June's high. However, if you start coming up into this range and you start doing nice distributions of some kind, maybe you take the low, maybe you have some kind of Model 2 distribution and a continuation, anything, honestly, anything that suggests the price is bearish, the zone is a great zone. There is no reason to fail this zone unless you are coming for the high. I think it's very unlikely to assume that we take the high and come lower. Again, you still can deviate the high. Why? Because it's a Model 2 distribution. So that would just, I think this is also an induced zone. Yeah, this never got hit. So you have a nice supply zone here. So yeah, there is still something in the way to be worried about. It's an inducement zone. However, I wouldn't really want this zone. I wouldn't really want the zone. It wouldn't make sense to me from a contextual point of view to have a flip zone here, turn this whole thing into supply, and leave nice liquidity on the way down to come back for. Now, it'd be fine again if I said, like I said, if price accumulates here and reaccumulates, sorry, then yes, fine, good. But issue is you're probably not going to do that. Now, okay, if price goes down, what's the target? Well, for me, it's 100% this zone here. I don't, price it can fail this zone, but the problem is, from what we've seen this entire range, every single accumulative low and order block has held. So at the end of the day, we still have to keep that expected standard until we see reasons why it won't. There's nothing here in any of this price action here. There's nothing even at the high or this entire range as a whole that suggests to me that this low will go, this low will go, this low will go, this low will go. I don't see it yet. It will potentially show up later, and hopefully I'll be awake to make a video if that happens. No guarantees. I'm not a robot. So keep your eyes peeled. If you see something very bearish down there, fine. If you see something very, very bearish up here, 100%, I'm looking for shorts. You should be looking for shorts. Not financial advice. Yeah, I mean that's about it. You've left liquidity on this whole move up, so I'm definitely expecting a pullback down. But at the moment, I mean, keep longing as price gives you. Obviously, they're leaving liquidity to come back for later. So if they're gonna leave liquidity, that means lows aren't being swept. So longs are relatively safe as long as you're in a good zone, as long as price gives you good structure, as long as it takes anything, even local liquidity, and gives a nice pop-up. You can still keep longing this and just trading whatever local range it gives you until you are definitely well prepared for a short, and it looks like it's going to short. I wouldn't be hammering shorts here or here as the high gets swept to potentially come down straight away, because that's how most retail get chopped. They turn their 10 risk to reward into a 9, into an 8, into a 7, into a 6, and then they finally get in. And now they only made 5R. So I wouldn't do the consistent entering. I would just take what's high probability for you and your setup, and that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else. This is kind of a really simple range. You're leaving liquidity. You're kind of having a nice move up until you're not going to leave liquidity. So trade the local range. We are in a big point of interest. These almost always provide elongated ranges. Now, again, market is closed and it is opening in 13 minutes. When this video posted, it'll probably be open, but just barely. There is this possibility. I'm kind of saying this doesn't really probably matter too much because this video will probably be posted after 11. There is this small probability that price will immediately go down from 11 o'clock. It happens sometimes. It does happen sometimes, and it mainly happens when you do leave liquidity like this after a weekend little pump up from a low that doesn't actually make sense to hold, which to me and to many others, this low doesn't make sense to hold. It wasn't a deep enough SFP. So be aware that if that happens, well, you're probably just coming down to this zone. Unless it wants to retest this whole range as a whole and then re-range. That happens sometimes as well. 11 o'clock loves doing that if it does manipulate down. But I think that's unlikely to happen. I think that's just a just in case, so I don't have to remake a video explaining what you should be doing if price does do a little flash crash and then pop back up. Apart from that, nothing else to do. Trade your local range, and that's it. I've already said that, but yeah. Consider liking and subscribing because I post daily, so you get to see daily videos from me. If my TA is good, if you like my TA, if you think it's helpful, then you'll see it every day. If you end up not liking my TA over the next few days, over the next few weeks, you can always unsubscribe. There's nothing you get out of subscribing or unsubscribing apart from the fact that you get to see my videos. If they're helpful to you, they're helpful to you. Peace out.